Huh. Nobody shows, it's their own fault. I'm kind of leaning toward, I don't know, depends on how many are watching.
So it's live now.
I wouldn't think so.
Is it live with sound now?
Yeah, the mic's off. Mics are muted.
No, actually.
Well, good evening, all. Appreciate y'all coming in. If you don't mind, I'd like to start with a prayer. Heavenly Father, thank you for the opportunity to come together as a community and look forward into the future of Lone Oak together. May we put ourselves, our agendas, and our egos aside so that we may hear your voice and see your guidance for where we're supposed to step by thy will through the future, even impacting those that we haven't met yet. Thank you for grace and mercy we don't deserve. In the name of Jesus, amen. All right. I've been mayor for 4 months. Most of y'all, I recognize faces. Y'all know I don't make rules. I don't even get to vote in the city council. I don't make change. But my job is stewardship and vision. So that's what I've been trying to do. The first rule of Lone Oak, the way we're going to start every meeting, the first rule of Lone Oak is do not believe anything you hear and only half of what you see. And I love y'all. I love everybody in this town. But if you didn't hear it from me, you're not getting the whole story. That's it. And I get it if you heard it from your pastor or your brother or your mama or somebody that even works in the city. If you didn't hear it from me, you're missing something. I'm not saying, they're wrong. They may not be. But I guarantee you they don't have the whole story. So don't believe everything you hear because there's a lot of it out there. As a good steward of the city, I have looked at everything, like I said last time, and I have 2 jobs. And those jobs are simple. I want to improve the roads and attract businesses. Now notice I didn't say fix the roads. I said this last time. I just want to improve them because we can't fix the roads. Why can't we fix the roads, Steve? Well, because the pipes under some of the roads are 100 years old. And the drainage in the city from rain needs to be fixed, both of which we have a plan going. For the pipes underneath, we're working with a grant company. We're trying to apply for a grant that would help us get those types of major projects handled and paid for. And that is in process. We are working hand in hand with this company. I'll keep you updated every town hall meeting so you'll know where that stands. Those applications have not even been released, so we're in the preliminary stages of that. But we're holding hands with a grant company to make sure we don't miss a thing. So that's for the pipes underneath and replacing the roads and the structures around them. As for the drainage plan, I do have a drainage plan map, and I think it's here. Come take a picture if you like. Here you go. So we have a map of what it is now and what the future is going to look like if you want to come take pictures. Public Works Director Corey and I are working together on this, and we've actually already started this. This is in process along McBride, and that will continue per this second map here that says future. So we're planning for the pipes and we're planning for the drainage, but in the meantime, we're not just going to sit on the road surfaces the way they were. We wanted to improve them, which again, is part of my 2-job outlet. So what has been done on the roads? Back over here. We have a 4-phase road project. Again, at the end, you want to come take a picture. That's totally cool. Phase 1 was the predominantly gravel-style roads, crushed concrete-style roads. That phase is complete. We have we have resurfaced all of the crushed concrete or gravel roads, or roads that were mostly or heavily patched with that material. And we've already done that. Phase 2, as you'll see there, is also in progress. That is a cooperation with the county, where the city only pays for materials and the county comes out and helps us with the road. Wallace has already been done. If you haven't driven down Wallace in the last 60 days, that's a county improved road. We paid for the materials, they helped us out. They're awfully good at it, y'all. That's what they do every day. Olive Street is the next street on the schedule, followed by Mill. So Olive and Mill are part of Phase 2, where we're working with the county, and I can tell you right now, they're working closely with us. They're doing a great job. Phase 3 is now in progress. This is what you see along College Street and where we've turned down McBride. By Wednesday of this week, we'll be at the 4-way stop with this resurfacing. It's not perfect, and I realize that, okay? But it's better than it was, and it's improvement. We're looking at improvement. Until we can permanently fix the roads in our town, we're just trying to improve it, and we're using those materials to knock that out. The last phase is completely out of our hands. Y'all may or may not even know this. Katy Street and Church Street do not belong to Lono. They belong to the Department of Transportation. Those are the old highway, and they've never been handed over to Lono. So next summer, I'm working with DOT on a couple of things. Next summer, DOT is going to resurface Katy Street and Church Street. So by the end of next summer, all of these roads in Lono are going to be resurfaced, and then we'll be patching, we'll be maintaining, et cetera, et cetera. So that's the road improvement area. Does anyone have any questions about 4 phases, road improvement vision, process and execution?
I just have a comment.
Oh.
I just drove down college.
Oh.
And I love it. It's so nice. I mean, seriously. I mean, I know, like you said, it's not a permanent fix, but it's so much better.
Well, I appreciate that. That was the goal.
Yeah. Huh?
That was the goal.
I know, yeah. So hands off to y'all.
And the gentlemen in the Public Works Department, right, Corey, Wayne, and Josh are doing an amazing job. We were out there this morning. We're going to be back out there the next 2 days. They're killing it, doing great. All right, no questions there. Okay, so we've covered all that. Now, the second job that I've assigned myself is attracting businesses. And I'm going to pause right here because there's a reason why businesses are very important for a town like ours. Everybody in this town pays property taxes, right? And none of us like it, but it's a necessary evil. And it's a hot topic right now based on what the county meeting tomorrow night is going to be all about. So here's what I want to differentiate for everybody watching or here tonight. I touched on it in the last meeting, right here on the left side. I even printed the Hunt County 2023 tax rates for each city. And our tax rate 90 days ago was 34 cents per $100 of value. Okay? 34 cents per $100 of value. So if your property is worth or appraised at 100,000, right? So you would multiply 1,000 times 34 cents. Anybody want to whip their calculator out?
340.
So if your property is worth $100,000, Lono gets $340. That's it. Now, let's say so take that, and let's say your house or property is worth $300,000. Then what does Lono get? $1,000. That's for the year, y'all. Okay? So yes, we all pay property taxes, and nobody likes writing that big check, but everybody has to understand that check goes to Hunt County. And then as of 90 days ago, we got 34 cents per $100 of value. Y'all ready for the good news? Who just lowers your taxes?
Not me.
The Lone Oak City Council. Right? There's a vote. There's a whole thing about the next appraisal value increase, and there's some concern about what percentage that's going to be. Right? Lone Oak has voted to take 34 cents and knock it down to 29.3 cents. Okay? So just letting y'all know. But what does that mean? The same math that we just did for 34 cents is a little bit less when it comes to what we pay for property taxes. So I get it. We all pay property taxes, and we want to see what we get for our property tax. Okay? Understand that Lone Oak doesn't get that whole check. We get 29.3 cents per $100 of value on the property. So we might be getting, $300, $600 if your property's worth $200,000. That's how this works. So having done that math from property tax, Lone Oak benefits greatly from sales tax revenue. And what that means is businesses. So, as I mentioned 90 days ago, there are 2 criteria for a business to want to come to Lone Oak. Number 1 is numbers. How many people you got? We haven't qualified for that, right? We're not a very big town. We still don't. As we stand right here and sit together, the numbers don't work for the equation that Chick-fil-A, Wendy's, Whataburger, all these companies want. However, it's coming. With the numbers that are coming at Mallard Point, Eagle Station, the new homes that are going up in town, who knows what's going to happen across from the school. look, the numbers are going to be there, and we have to plan for the day when that equation works. Trust me when I tell you, every fast food place and retail small box shop is going to be sniffing. Because once that equation hits green, the next thing they're going to do is they're going to come to Lone Oak and see, do we want to be here? Is this a place we want to park? You know, what's the town look like? So part of the stewardship and the second job that I've assigned myself that I'm trying to accomplish is becoming attractive when that time comes. If we wait, we miss out. So what have we done to be attractive to the businesses that will come when the numbers happen? Well, we did the mural. That's done. I showed you the curb idea and the vision for the Esplanade curbs out there on 69. I just met with DOT last Friday. It's not 100% confirmed, but I'm being told by DOT officials that this is not only possible, but probable. It's just a matter of how slowly DOT operates, but I'm pushing on it. So this is going to be pretty close to a reality. Of course, the road improvement and the businesses that we have certainly help, right? And if we could bring even smaller businesses, mom and pops, whatever, the more of those that we have, you know, the better this town is going to look. Oh, let me get that up there. My ghost is talking to me. But overall appearance and feel is what the folks that these corporations are going to send to Lone Oak are going to be looking for. Before I step forward on that point, are there any questions about business equation? What businesses look for? Do you have any questions about how the tax rate falls? Because that was good news.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
It seems to me that you would raise what we give to the city instead of lower.
Seems
I wouldn't
positive.
mind doing more and not less.
I
I
understand.
know it might be exceptions, I don't do it.
Well, and that's just
But I mean,
it.
it's very little.
Right, but without going to the public, we wouldn't know that. So in order to kind of counterbalance what may be coming from Hunt County, there's a couple of criteria that the city can apply, and we applied the one that still benefited the city and didn't raise taxes to the point where we had to go to a vote, because we kind of know where that vote's going to go. At least I feel like we do. But good question, right? Any other questions about all this so far? Because part of becoming attractive is what I said 90 days ago, and that's code enforcement. Your city council voted into ordinance and rules, law, if you will, code enforcement years ago. I don't make the rules up. These rules have been on the books for years, right? So I'm not changing the rules. This isn't something Steve's bringing in. If the city council votes in the next meeting that, you know, grass can be 12 feet tall and everybody park in their yards and break all your windows and paint your house pink, you know, I'll abide. But that's not the rules that we have for the city. And all of the code enforcement rules simply apply inside the city limits, which is another point of confusion I want to make sure we clear up. If you live outside the city limits, these ordinances don't apply. The next step I want to take with everybody is this isn't personal. This isn't Steve coming in and, you know, exercising a personal vendetta because you and I went to high school together and, you know, you stole my girlfriend in the 8th grade and I'm really going to stick it to you. I don't have that history here, right? It's not personal. It's not anything that I'm bringing heavy. Some people wished I was a little heavier about it, quite honestly, but that's not my approach. If there's an issue on your property, I'm going to come talk to you. I said this 90 days ago, it still stands true. We're a little further in the process, so, you know, some folks are going to start seeing letters simply because we have spoken and nothing's been done, right? If there's progress and we see progress, we have a code enforcement specialist. It's not Steve. We have a code enforcement officer that is walking through the process of whatever's going on in town. But my first approach is to come talk to you. Do you need help? Can I help? What can we do? Is there a plan for that, right? And it's all based on ordinances that are already on the books. There is a process, though, that follows, and for lack of a better term, it's unpleasant. It's not happy, right? It's not everybody's favorite. But if we're going to follow what it needs to happen for the town to stick around, and I'm trying really hard not to be dramatic, but that's what it boils down to, right? If we're not raising taxes and there aren't businesses coming to town, the cost of everything else out there goes up, including salaries. So, I want to play devil's advocate and walk through maybe a worst case scenario. What if the city doesn't bring any more money in than it has in the last few years or whatever? Then what services are we going to be able to provide? If we have the same money and the cost of everybody else and everything else goes up, we're going to lose a city worker. We're going to lose a police officer. We're going to lose a public works worker, which means less gets done every day from the public works. Reactions might be slower to a pipe issue or a city issue. Office hours might change if we're down one person. And heaven forbid, I don't even want to think about if we lose a police officer, right? So these are the things that stewardship and vision looks forward into, and so we have to evaluate where we are. This is what I've been doing, and this is why I'm coming to you with town halls. That's just not going to stay.
That's not.
That's fine. I'm going to put it down here. Maybe it'll stay here.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. That's why I'm working with the council, right, and working with the code enforcement officer. It's not personal. It's not vindictive. It's just these are the rules, and we want everybody to kind of come together as a community and figure out how to help. I've reached out, Angels of Lone Oak. I've got offers from a lot of people that live here saying, hey, call me, I'd like to help. Absolutely. These are all things that are going to happen, right? And together, we can help elevate the town because, as I said 90 days ago, a rising tide lifts all boats.
It's the air.
And throws all signs down. All right, so, yeah, just lay it down. I think we're good. Let me flip that over here. So, anyway, I'll just lay these right here. We can take pictures of them at the end if you want and go from there. Any questions about code enforcement? And I'm here. If you don't want to ask in front of folks, come see me after. I'll stay until every question's answered. No bad questions.
And nobody else wants to talk to you.
That's fine. That's all right.
So I finally, going down McBride and we hit Main Street, and I go that well out there church, that horrible house that was burned. Finally, this last week, they started taking it down. I was so happy because that's just like a firehouse.
I personally,
I don't know who it belonged to.
I do.
I appreciate it.
I personally spoke to the owner,
Okay.
and we walked through options together.
Yeah.
And what we're seeing, as started last Wednesday, as a matter of fact, there's a couple of gentlemen in a red truck and a trailer that are taking that structure down by hand.
Yeah.
Not the easiest way to do it, but you know what? Progress is progress.
Yeah.
Great question.
No, it's horrible.
And that's not the only, there's plenty of issues,
That was a big
right?
eyesore.
We're working on it. We have other concerns here and there that I can happily report. Conversations have already been, we're a couple of months into these conversations. And resolution is coming within weeks, not months. So stay tuned on that. I can update, in the next town hall. I'm looking forward to reporting, hey, that's done, this is done, that's done, right? If you have any questions, call the city office. My extension is, 5515? So leave me a message. If I'm not in, I'll call you back. I'm really good at that. But no questions about that? All right, so now I'm going to open the floor for any question. Any question, any topic, fire away. Pizza shop? Law enforcement? I'm pointing to you. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sorry. I'm actually asking on behalf of a friend that could not make it this evening.
Okay.
She's the pastor at Lone Oak United Methodist Church.
Mm-hmm.
She was wondering if the city ever had any plans to implement recycling in the future.
It is something that we're considering. It is in the future, and it may not be in the immediate future.
Okay.
However, it's important.
It's not available in the contract we have.
We're under contract right now, and it's not part of that, but we have a contract renewal in the future that could be added to. Absolutely. Yes. 100%.
So when we renew our contract, I try to ask that.
Yeah.
The last contract renewal we did, well, this new company, they didn't even really want to talk about any kind of recycling program. The company before that kind of told us that it would actually cost us money, a lot of money, because what they do is they bring, even if we get a central collection and you bring your stuff and put it in, if they go in and see a mayonnaise jar that's not clean,
Yeah.
then it all goes to the landfill. And then we have to pay for that. So and it's not the same as the dumpster behind City Hall. It's like twice as much. Because we have to pay for them to sort it, and then if it doesn't sort, then it goes to the landfill, and we have to pay for all of
I don't know about right now, but used to, aluminum cans, they all had to be separated into the company they come from, because every company uses a
it.
different
Different alloys,
spread
yeah,
on their aluminum.
yeah.
So they even gotta separate the
So
aluminum cans.
It's one of those things that we ask about every time we renew the contract. I always ask for more dumpsters behind City Hall. We always ask about recycling because, any little bit we can do to help,
Yeah, I know.
kind of keep things from being covered up is good.
It's
So-
just hard because, to your point, are we still under those rules where the aluminum cans matter? Even if we're past that and we can put all the aluminum cans in, the aluminum cans are full of dirt and debris, right? That people stuffed in there or whatever, if something accidentally slips in and it ruins the whole batch, and we have to pay double to have it now sent to the landfill, which was where it was going in the first place. These are hard questions. I mean,
Right.
it's very similar on the national level to the electric car batteries. You have these lithium leach fields that are toxic. If a bird lands in the middle of a leach field, it's not going to live very long. So I think more information has to be gathered, and we can't even really address it until the contract's up anyway. But great question. It's an important issue. I think it's going to boil down to, does Texas do that very well, even regionally yet, and does it make sense? So
Part of the hang-up is nobody wants it. There's no place.
That's right.
20 years ago, 30 years ago, recycling was a big industry and people were taking it, but now there's nobody who wants it.
It's hard. You're right.
So,
Gordon, are there any questions online? For those of you watching online, there is a chat space. If you want to fire a question, I'll answer it here. Again, I kind of go back to the sign that won't stay up. Oh, yes, go ahead.
I have a question when it comes to the cleanup of properties and everything.
Yes.
I've had some neighbors that brought in their own roll-off dumpsters or something, and the city came and told them that they couldn't have that there's a specific company that the city required you to use.
Is that? I've been mayor 4 months, so
Right.
I
But I mean, this was my neighbors that remodeled the house right next door to me.
Okay.
And they're remodeling the house right next door to that, and they said that the city requires you to use a specific dumpster company
How long ago was this?
within the last year.
Okay, within the last 12 months.
so we have a contract with, it was Ameritex.
Right.
In that contract, it says that the city is supposed to use those dumpsters, their roll-off system.
The city.
But we have a contract, you don't have a contract.
But that's what I'm saying, the city came and told my neighbors
Well,
they had to get rid of that dumpster.
So when you, I'm sorry, when you say the city came, who
Yeah.
specifically came? Did they tell you? Do you know? You were the neighbor. I don't know.
Well, it was, I believe it might have been Corey at the time, I'm not 100%
Might have
sure
been.
on.
Okay, that's
So-
cool.
Exact one.
That's fine.
But
So-
they had a dumpster company come drop a dumpster while they were remodeling, and they're like, no, you gotta get that out of here, you have to use this.
Well, I called the owner of Ameritex, right?
Right.
And they've been bought out by Live Oak, I think.
That's correct.
And I haven't talked to them specifically, but the owner of Ameritex said there is an unofficial agreement between the different trash companies that thou shalt not cross into somebody else's yard.
Gotcha. That's
Right? So that's between the companies. That's got nothing to do with y'all. So if you've got a dumpster that you call somebody, now if you call City Hall, that's the number they're going to give you.
They're going to give you Live Oak.
Right, but
It'll be
like,
blocked.
if it's somebody just doing like, they're remodeling their house.
Yeah,
And they're need to get rid of their, what
Something
they're
might be
taking out of
$500
it.
cheaper.
yeah. No, if it's a
Bill
company.
Brandon's got a small roll-off that's $350 and he'll haul it.
Well,
Right.
if it's, in my opinion, and again, everybody needs to understand, I don't make the rules here, right? But I'm vision and, stewardship. In my opinion, as long as you're calling somebody that's reputable, right? And not cousin Johnny who lives in Tyler and has one in his backyard, right? If you've got a company that's coming out, I'm good. In fact, we've got one right now at a residence in town that is cleaning up. So I apologize. I don't-
What the guy from Ameritex told me too is they don't expect us to enforce this.
Right, because it's their agreement.
It's their agreement.
That makes sense.
What he said was because now they all come on Wednesday. They used to come on Tuesdays, I think, for commercial, and then the trash pickup was Friday when it was Friday. No, it's Friday now. It used to be Wednesday. Their guys would look to see if they saw a dumpster, then they would call him, and he would call the owner of whatever.
Yeah,
But that was on them. That's not us.
The dumpster company was Blackjack, which is a big reputable.
Of course, yeah.
Right.
And they had a 20-yard dumpster there that when they were remodeling inside the house, they were putting on the city came to them, they had to get rid of it. They
I
couldn't
remember
use it.
that. I remember that.
Well,
Anybody with common sense is gonna go get 3 prices on dumpsters.
and who's going to pay top price? 100%. So again, common sense trying to prevail here. I don't like that happened. Right? I wasn't around.
It was before you. It was before you.
But okay, well, in my opinion, I agree with y'all that again, as long as it's a reputable company and you've got the best price, bring it in. And if there's some unwritten agreement between other folks, that's not the city, right? That's them. So I get it. So I'm glad you brought that up though, because I had no idea.
Yeah, I just thought it was funny that the city came. I believe it was. I'm not 100%.
That's
sure.
fine, and I'm guaranteeing you it's a misunderstanding inside the city walls. Somebody had the wrong idea. I don't know. Am I
don't
speaking
think
out of
so.
turn here?
I don't think so. That's what I've been told,
That's what you've been told.
is that that's what we're supposed to use, that
If they call us, yes, but they didn't call us. They called somebody cheaper.
Yeah, I think the city is supposed to. If it goes through the city,
It goes through
if the
the
call
city,
goes through the
we
city,
have-
or if it's city cleanup day,
Correct.
we have to.
I don't think that's the way it's being enforced.
That's
Well,
fair. That's fair, but I don't think it can be enforced any other way.
Yeah,
That's my.
I was using my equipment, helping them load it, and they said y'all can't do that.
Well, I'm taking that back in, and we'll, because I'm with you. I'm at a loss for words, honestly, because it makes sense is
If you
sense.
want to clean up your yard, but you have to use this specific guy.
And it costs,
it goes
whatever the cost
$500
is.
more.
I agree.
It makes it hard to want to clean up your yard.
Well, I'll pick that up as an item to research, and I'll make sure that we're clear on, because I have a hard time understanding how.
When I took my garage down, I used Ameritex, but I'm on the council, so I kind of got to do what.
That's fair.
I
I
helped negotiate the contract, so I kind of need to use what.
I have a hard time understanding.
But I don't know why they got it.
I'm at a risk here of saying something stupid, but that's.
It's just something
I have a hard time understanding how one company, by using a contract with the city, can tell you, as a citizen not connected with the city, what you have to use. I don't know of any other aspect of business where that can apply. And so again, if I'm wrong, hey man, if I don't see how the city could sign a contract that represents. Okay, got a question online.
It said, so to clarify, the city doesn't have a specific roll-off dumpster company we have to use. More specifically, if we pull a permit, we're going to be told who we have to use.
If you go through the city, is this where this? Yeah. So the question was, if we pull a permit to use a dumpster on a specific lot in town, are we going to be told who to use? Is this where? You know what? I can tell we don't know. We don't know the answer to that. but I'm gonna go find out, so stay
You
tuned.
gotta pull a permit regardless.
Yeah.
Agreed,
Pull a permit, you still ought to be able to get 3 prices.
and do the one you want, 100%. I don't disagree at all with what was just said. I'll go back and study and see,
Because I don't,
because I just don't see how that can be set up as a
There's
jurisdiction.
no doubt about pulling the permit, you have to pull the
Yes.
permit,
Right.
but, yeah.
I got you. That's a great question. Thank you. Because I got something new to dive into, sink my teeth into. All right. Any other? Is that the only? Yes,
Of course, I
ma'am.
have another question.
What? It's not shock face.
So can you give us the status on Buffalo Grill at all in downtown? Because I wondered, is that nobody knows? Okay.
Yeah.
Just because there's so many
That she was
empty.
shooting for the first of the year.
Huh?
She made the comment that she was shooting for the first of the year, but it's not a guarantee.
Who, the lady who used
Tanya.
Oh, Tanya. Oh, okay.
Is all of that coming across, or should I repeat just for folks? I'll repeat it. The question was, can I make any comment on what the future of the Buffalo Grill is? And I can't. I don't know. A comment was made internally here in the room that it was heard that they're shooting for the first of the year, which would be great. The only official comment that I would state as a representative of this city is, come back soon. We love y'all. We need y'all. So whatever happens business-wise there, we're rooting for you. What was that, Mary?
I said she gave different dates. all
Fair,
along.
She said
yeah.
that all the years that she
Yeah.
wasn't expected to go on as long as they have.
Yes, sir.
you got any plans for more murals in town?
I do. I have plans for 2 more murals in town. Well, I say listen, this isn't me, right? I'm part of this. I'm involved. It ain't me. So I am part of discussions to bring 2 more murals to town, and I'm excited that this is a possibility. And when more information becomes available, I will absolutely make sure that everybody knows. Great question. All right. Any other questions citywide? Yes, sir. Online.
Are the murals going to be done by local artists or outsiders?
So the muralist that did the artwork on the side of the pizza shop is local. It's one of those things that we have to figure out what you mean by local. Was she from Lonoke? No, she's not. Did she spend a lot of time in Lonoke as a young woman? Yes. She had a lot of friends here. Absolutely. She's from just up the road, right? So she is one person and a very integral part of the discussions that I'm involved in. Nothing has been chosen because nothing has been said. But if that same artist were to be used, I personally would consider her local. So that's a good thing.
Muralists is hard, there's not very many of them.
No, and
We have a lot of local artists, but muralists or something, that's a different.
and as someone who went through this individually for the one that we have, I can tell you that, there are several regional muralists that we talked to through this process, and costs they varied greatly. So, it's one of those situations where you get 3 bids or 5 bids and, you settle on the best value. Yes, sir, online.
So we got 2 questions. The first one is, does the city plan on expanding the police department?
As of right now, there are no plans to expand the police department personnel right now. Yes, eventually we would like the police department to have its own office and space, and then from there, based on city finance and sales tax revenue, perhaps grow that. Yes, of course we want to grow it. The question is, can we, and when can we? Is that fair? Okay.
The second
Second question.
Second question was, has any food business inquired of wanting to be in Lonoke? What are the specifications for those that wanted to open a business in downtown in Lonoke?
Okay, so I guess my question back before I answer a question like that would be, are you talking about national chains, big box restaurants, or mom and pops? So I'll answer both. Yes, there have been discussions with some of the popular fast food names that you would recognize, but we haven't landed one of those yet based on the criteria that I went over earlier. numbers, and then after numbers work, then they look at city appeal. Now, mom and pop restaurant inquiries happen probably 2-3 a month, if not even more so. Folks come to town and look, and they see the buildings that we have available, and they're like, hey, I know something that would be good there. Hey, this would work in this space. So those conversations are pretty frequent from a mom and pop perspective. It's just a matter of them getting the financing, coming to the EDC and then the city council and just going through the steps to open a business. So yes, those conversations happen very frequently. It's just a matter of, landing the fish, I guess. We got lines in the water and we got a lot of nibbles. We just got to get the fish in the boat.
So we have a follow-on to the mural.
Okay.
I know a local muralist, it wasn't considered or talked to about local murals. I'm curious, how would I go about putting in a bid or idea for a mural?
Just come talk to me and let me know your interest. And then once designs and go-aheads are paved, right? Once that road's paved, that we've got it funded and the vision is clear, then it's just a matter of going and figuring out the artist itself. So absolutely, if you have interest or if you have talent and you do this type of thing, come talk to me and we'll make sure that we're including you in the process once it's approved.
So you got an attaboy that says, thank you, Mayor.
Oh, appreciate you. It's not me. None of it is about me, but I appreciate the nice words. So, yes, sir.
For the murals, has it been considered to use potentially one of the school art programs to do one of those?
How big are those programs?
I have no idea.
I'm not opposed to considering that. I do know that there is a proposed project at the school that the school itself is using outside mural talent. So it leads me to believe that maybe the program isn't as developed as it may need to be.
Gotcha.
But again, please, I don't speak for the school. You know what I mean?
I've lived here less time than you've been there.
I only open my mouth long enough to switch feet. So, You got anything else? Okay. Yes,
I have
ma'am.
a question again.
Go ahead.
Okay.
That's why we're here.
What is the status on at Buffalo Mesa where I live and know that my other people can't?
Well, that's a city council question.
I can't ask you just.
No, because I live on Mesa and I'm
I bet I
recused.
could ask him.
Do that afterwards. That'd be great.
I was at the council meeting.
So-
I actually know.
Okay, yeah. Anything that has to do with Buffalo Mesa, and you know what? I do appreciate you asking that because it gives me an opportunity to tell everyone here and anyone watching, I live on Mesa. My family lives on Mesa. Any decision, conversation, idea, thought process, or direction that this city is considering around the Mesa pavement, I am recused from. I'm not a part of the discussion. I'm not a part of the meeting. I am separate. And that's for good reason. It can't be a conflict of interest. So if you hear any development or anything going on at Mesa, understand, I'm not part of it. I'm not a part of the discussion. I'm not making the decision. I'm not influencing the decision. I can't make that clear enough. Yes, sir. Did you raise your hand? Oh, sorry. Since we're here, I'll touch on Facebook. Once again, if you didn't catch the first town hall meeting, you're going to get one of two responses from me on Facebook. Number one, attaboy, attagirl, Angels of Lone Oak, really appreciate your help. Thank you very much for caring about this community. That's one response. The other response is, you don't have enough information, please come to the next town hall. That's the only two responses you're going to get from me. I will not respond on Facebook. Sorry. Because that's a trap. And I'm not going to circle around the drain of a trap on Facebook. I'm just not going to do it. In my opinion, and this is where Steve's opinion comes across, it may not be shared by the other city council members or anyone involved in the city. Facebook is the devil's playground. I use Facebook for positive images of this town only. That's it. You can argue back and forth, but the only people that enjoy arguments on Facebook are the devil and Facebook. That's my opinion. Therefore, I don't respond. Come to the town hall meetings, because again, like I said off the top, don't believe anything you hear unless I said it. I can't be clear enough about that. Even people that you trust might know pieces of it, but nobody knows the whole picture better than me. If you got a question, come to me. I'll tell you the truth. All right. What else? Any other questions? We're working on the roads. We should be at the four-way stop on McBride by Wednesday. If it has to bleed into Thursday, that's fine, but it won't take all day. And like I say, I've got the phases outlined here if y'all want to take pictures. I've got the drainage, the current drainage plan. It may change here and there depending, but what we have now for rain coverage and what we're planning to do is all part of what Corey and I are working on. Nothing to report yet on the grants because the application process hasn't really even begun. As soon as the application process releases, the grant company we're working with is going to hold our hands. What am I missing, Kara? Okay, we're going to work on another city cleanup day. Historically, our contract with the sanitation company that we work with gives us one of those. We're in the process of trying to figure out what a second one might cost us and say, hey, just pony up, right? I think that this last one was a huge success. We didn't even make it to noon on Saturday. We opened it on Friday, and by 10 o'clock on Saturday, our dumpsters were full.
What about the speed limit by the school? Is that something?
Yes, good question. So I mentioned earlier, I met with DOT, and they said that these curves are, probable. It's just a matter of kind of getting through their process. There's been a request and a push from the school and from our county commissioner here in Precinct 3 and myself to petition the DOT to extend the school zone south along 69 so that folks coming north on 69 from Point doing 70 miles an hour don't hit the school so fast, because it's not enough time in today's society with phones and distractions to go from 70 to possibly 35 in a school zone like that. So DOT has agreed to extend the speed limits to city limit boundary, which is about 1,000 feet, 1,050, 1,080-ish, which will then we'll be able to extend the school zone out as well, which slows people down, right? The whole idea is to slow people down before they hit the edge of the stadium. And before you know it, they're in 35 mile an hour zone and they're going too fast. Especially when events at the school let out and kids and parents are trying to get out on 69. This will help. So that's a great question. Thank you. I almost forgot that. So that was good. The only other thing that we talked about, the DOT didn't really have any impact for city limits. So they were just kind of FYI, heads up. We talked about Church and Katy. Folks at home, and if y'all haven't seen, if you come up and look at the Lone Oak Road improvement kind of rundown, specific roads are mentioned if you want to come take a picture of it with your phone. We haven't forgotten about Oak. We haven't forgotten about the little one that curves there and goes back. We still got plans on Hickory, just to make sure that road surfaces are getting improved. But if everything falls into place the way this phased process looks, by the end of the year, calendar year, Christmas time, every road in town will have been resurfaced. So that's our goal. And they're not perfect. If anybody joined late, please understand they weren't meant to be perfect. We're improving the roads. We're not fixing them. So they're better than they were. They're not where they're going to be. So bear with me, a little patience. Not just me, but maybe future mayors. I don't know. We're working on it. What else? Anybody want to talk about law enforcement?
I do.
Fire.
What about the law enforcement that sits down at the local businesses? Why do they sit at the local businesses? Sonny down at Shortstop has personally told me, he's went out there and told the officers that you're killing my business.
Okay.
I mean, there's no reason, I don't figure there's enough space around that they have to sit in these businesses and old cowboy that's taking his cows to Selborne with the old cattle trailer while they sit there on their license plates as they're at the pumps. As soon as they leave the pump, you know what I mean? If you want to pull them over right on the highway.
Okay.
Sitting in the businesses just don't make sense.
Understood.
I don't care if you're breaking the law or if you ain't. Nobody is going to, if there's a store down the road, nobody's going to pull into a store when they're looking at another one down the road and there's a cop sitting in the parking lot.
Understood.
And I'm not sitting there 5 minutes. I'm talking about sitting there 20 and 30 minutes at a time.
Understood. Did all that come across, Gordon, or should I repeat some of that?
Might summarize it.
I'll summarize. The concern is that our local police officers are sitting in business parking lots, and that is driving away business to at least one and probably more than one specific business, depending on where they're sitting. This was addressed literally this past week. Here we got a phone call, and this discussion we had this discussion. It's my understanding that our police department understood the concern and that changes are being made. So, great point. And, our police department's goal is not to hurt business. Put that way, with the example that you gave, makes perfect sense. Of course, if I see another alternative up the road, I'm not going to stop there. Maybe if I fear that someone's going to pull me over, sure, I get that. So that has been addressed. That conversation was had literally, I want to say last week, and it's my understanding that changes are being made. So good.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. You have one, or was that yours?
Well, it was basically on the same. I mean, and it's not all of them that are doing it, but
Okay.
like sitting in the car wash, just hiding out in the car wash, or a couple of them, it's borderline harassment how they treat people when they're pulling them over. And I mean, as a business owner here, we got trailers, we have everything. Our ramps come down and it might bend our license plate up. And they're coming, pulling us over, and then they're trying to look under our trailer for numbers and all this instead of just running our insurances and being like, okay, this is legal. They want to come and harass us. I have a dump truck company. My 6-yard dump truck, I got a temporary tag on it before I left my yard. I stopped at the gas station to get fuel so I could go to Greenville and get it inspected. I got pulled over and I got 3 tickets. For improper registration, having my license plate still on my vehicle, but then when I furnished him the temporary tag, I still got 3 tickets just due to registration. And it's not all the officers, but there's a couple of them that they're kind of aggressive with their tactics on how they treat, especially the townspeople. Like run the highway and run the people that are just running through town. And if they're breaking the laws, that's fine. I wasn't speeding through town. I didn't do anything. I just pulled into shortstop and got fuel in my truck to go get it inspected, which I had temporary tags, I had insurance, everything was legal on it. But they're like, no, you're still getting these tickets because I had my license plate that was supposed to be on my truck on the truck.
Gotcha. Now, was this one instance or two? Because you mentioned 2 officers. Is there one pullover?
Well, it was just one officer with me, but
Okay.
I mean, we see them.
But you've heard stories about
all day, and they're pulling into my business, hiding.
Okay.
Not all of them.
Okay.
But the car wash right next to me, and then like he said, going into the businesses and running everybody's plates that are there. Which, if they're breaking the law, that's one thing.
If they're breaking the law, if they
You
ain't
break
got
the
no
law,
insurance,
you broke the law.
bust them up.
Right.
So here's-
An
so-
old cowboy taking his cows to the sale barn, if his stuff's not right, pull him over on the highway. Don't sit there and be in this grocery store where you're hurting other people, because not even if you're breaking the law, even if you ain't breaking the law, if you put up a Leroy sign or a Kim sign, you're not gonna pull in this man's place, and you're gonna go down here because there's a police officer sitting here.
I would. Others might. It might not. And
I would too.
I'm agreeing with you that there may be some people that look at that and pass that business by, and our police department is not in the business of hurting business. Okay, so this discussion is going to not only been had this week, but we'll continue it. I'll continue it internally. Now, here's what I'll tell you about the police officers in this town. Okay, there's been a lot said on Facebook, and almost every one of those accounts is the secondhand. Very few are firsthand. A couple of them have been firsthand. I've only received directly 3 complaints, and all 3 complaints, I've gone and looked at the video. And the complaints that were handed to me, when I looked at the video, I didn't agree with. I didn't agree with the complaint. I didn't see what other folks saw. So this is obviously a hot topic in our town. Okay, it's been kicked around by about 10% of the people, but that's 10% more than I want. So I went to Joe. And I talked to Joe. And here's what I know. When Joe first got here, nobody liked Joe.
Joe or Paul?
Joe. 13 years ago, Joe Sturman came to this town as an officer, and nobody liked him. You know how I know that? Because I asked Joe. Now, 13 years later, everybody likes Joe, and that's cool. And Joe had a chance to better himself, and I completely patted him on the back, right? Joe went down to the school, and he got a job he was seeking, and that change happened. Now, we've had Paul for 90 days. Paul's been here 90 days. So I have two comments as the mayor of this town. This is my comment. I don't represent anyone else, involved in the city alone. Number one, allow him to be the stranger that he is. He doesn't have to conform to how this city's done business under any other chief or for how long. He doesn't. He's the law. He is the chief of police. Okay? And I haven't seen anything on video that's been disrespectful. It's been to the point. Some people might even say dry. But let's allow Paul to be the stranger that he is and then get to know us through his role. Number two, if Paul Robertson were wearing a CHP outfit and driving a CHP car, expectations of Paul Robertson's demeanor and how he operates stops would be different. Now, granted, he's not a CHP. He's a Lone Oak cop. He's a Lone Oak chief of police. And I'm specifying Paul because he's been the brunt of the Facebook complaints. But Paul needs time to get to know us too. He does. And we need time to get to know Paul. This police department, and hear me when I say this, if you're not paying attention on the web, here we go. This police department writes almost twice as many warnings as it does tickets in 90 days that Paul's been here. Paul started June 20th. We issue almost twice as many warnings as we do tickets, and most of those go to local folks. How? Because they're not looking for that. You know what I mean? They're trying to be, and some people that don't even live here get warnings. Right? The stop happens, we're issuing almost twice as many warnings as we do tickets. What is the best way Steve might get a warning over a ticket? Because I'm not immune. I've told Chief Paul, if my wife, if my son, if I need to be pulled over, pull them over. My son and my wife. I have drawn a line. You heard me 90 days ago. We have a trust issue in this town with law enforcement and city government. The only way to earn back trust is to put everybody on the same playing field, including me. So when I tell you that I've gone to Paul and said, if you pull me over or anybody else, treat us like everybody else, and I will never make a call to the chief of police in this town and tell him to let anybody go. I won't do it. Because that created distrust in this town, and I'm eliminating it. So my suggestion, my recommendation, and my hope is that with a little more time, a little longer than 90 days, Paul can get to know this community. The community can get to know Paul the way it did with Joe 13 years ago. I think eventually we're going to get there. What can I say in traffic stops? I'm going to pull a line from Roadhouse and say, be nice.
In 13 years, though, everybody over at that city hall, in 13 years, nothing ever happened on Joe's watch around here, Chairman. No shootings, no crime, no nothing. But everything over at your city hall, if you ask those guys, the reason that your guys are acting like they are now is because Joe wasn't doing his job. But Joe protected this place for 13 years with nobody getting hurt, no big criminal cases.
Okay, and
it's all Joe's fault.
And there hasn't been any.
The reason that your officers are pulling over and you've got a full house at the courtroom is because Joe wasn't doing his job.
Nobody said
Joe
that.
done his job.
I don't. You're listening to other people's accounts.
I had a lady firsthand tell me that.
What lady?
Your court clerk.
Okay, is she the chief?
When I went in there and had to pay $300 worth of tickets, your court clerk said the reason I'm having to pay those tickets is because Joey wasn't doing his job.
Well, she's not on the police force. What did I say at the beginning?
Don't sit here and say Joey wasn't doing his job. Joey protected
I
his
didn't say
town.
that.
You don't have any criminal activity in 13 years. Nobody killed, nobody stabbed, no nothing.
And the same is true for the last 90 days.
How many friends has he got?
I don't know.
He ain't make no friends, I promise you.
It's 90 days. Give the man a chance to be the stranger that he is. Now, if Diane said that, I wasn't there.
I was there.
I'll take your word for it.
I heard it firsthand.
Is she on the police force?
I don't know what gamble. She's over the damn court.
Is she on the police force, brother? I love you. Again, don't believe everything you hear.
I ain't listening to nobody. I don't.
You just listen to her and
what the lady told me.
Okay, but you can't.
But don't sit here and say Joey didn't do his job.
I didn't sit here.
Protected this town for 13 years with nobody murdered, nobody stabbed.
Nobody in this room has said that. Nobody.
Everybody at your city hall has said that.
Everybody or
yes,
her?
Sir.
Yes,
pretty much. Yes,
oh,
sir.
pretty much.
The court clerk, the lady over the court.
One person in the office said that to you, and you have.
The lady that works every ticket that comes through this town said that.
I'm sorry?
The lady that works every ticket that comes through this town said that.
Okay, said that to you.
The municipal court clerk.
Understood. She's not on the police force. She's entitled to her opinion. But your statement to me right now is, don't sit here and tell me Joe didn't do his job. I'm not telling you Joe didn't do his job. Paul's not telling you Joe didn't do his job. Wes isn't telling you Joe didn't do his job. Kara, nobody else. Doug, nobody said this. One person said this to you, and I get it. You're upset. I'm not discounting that at all. You are completely entitled to be upset about what you heard. But nobody in this room, and the city as a whole, didn't say what you just heard. One person did. We all love Joe. And none of us are sitting here saying what was said. Okay? So be upset. I'm not discounting how you feel. But okay, so yes, one person said that, and you are upset about that. That's cool, but that's not me. And that's not any of the police officers that are on the force now. And it's certainly not anybody on the council. So let's make sure we put wherever our emotion is supposed to be on the right spot. Let's not expand it to the whole city because one person said something.
I haven't expanded nothing. I just simply told you a simple deal. That's what the lady told me.
Okay, that's one lady. And nobody else is saying that. Okay? Nobody's saying Joe didn't do his job. Nobody. I'm looking dead in the camera. Nobody's saying Joe Sterner didn't do his job. Nobody. Nobody here. Yes, sir.
We have a follow-up.
Fire away.
Says, just a suggestion, Lone Oak PD can come hang out on New Street in McBride, catch these speeders flying to and from 513.
Understood. We do have a speeding issue in this town, and I put a video out about 2 weeks ago reminding everyone that the standard should be 20 or below. Absolutely right. And I'm sure, I've definitely seen some of our officers sitting on McBride working on that. One of my fears in resurfacing these roads in this town is when the roads are smoother, people speed. It's a little crazy. So hopefully that we can slow that down a little bit. And just because the roads are smoother doesn't mean we speed up. But that's a great suggestion, and we'll take it. Anything else? I encourage everybody, look, it's going to take some time for any new chief to come in and make friends. I mean, I don't know when the last time I made a new friend was, but it probably took me more than 90 days, to be honest with you. Just saying that's really me. That's has more to do with me than anything else, because I'm picky. So definitely appreciate the comments about the businesses. That's going to continue as far as, trying to pull them out of there and not create an issue where somebody won't go to patronize a business simply because of that. Makes sense. Anything else?
What would be the process to get a speed bump?
That is a process, and we would want to wait and get speed bumps when the road is more permanent. If we put a speed bump on a road that's improved and not permanent, we have to rip it up when we repave. Tough spot. So
I donate the material to put them on.
To put them on, yeah.
I've done rip them up when they were ready to be ripped up.
We have a great question. We have a volunteer, Angel of Lone Oak, willing to donate some material to throw a speed bump or two down. I will find out the procedure and get back to you on that, because I want it.
We might want to talk to the fire department.
Fire department. Okay, cool.
Denise, though?
Denise, fire department.
Where are you trying to put that?
Well, probably McBride and Gladys, for sure, right? That's the main thoroughfares. What's that?
Main Street.
Main, they get pretty hot and heavy on
right
Main.
there on the corner of Main and McBride.
Right.
Oh, around the corner where
They get
the
straight crazy over there.
Windsor, too.
Windsor, yeah.
That's a straight one.
I mean, as long as we go that fast.
That Windsor's tough because it's crushed concrete. I don't know. I mean, what are your thoughts there? You're kind of the expert
Oh,
here.
I'd bring asphalt, we can make a bump, walk it in, and as soon as it's ready to be ripped up.
Just
take
pick it
skid
up,
steer and rip it up.
even on the crushed concrete side. Well, see, I like that because I've seen people fly on Windsor.
We'll fly through this parking lot.
Yeah, that's true. The speed limit in the square is 10 miles an hour, but that is rarely adhered to.
Sometimes it's 60.
Sometimes it's 60. Mary sees it all from the window of that place, and yeah, so no, that's good.
She's always outside waving to everybody, she sees it all.
Yeah.
And
So
I see them going down through there on their phones too, driving. with
Oh, my
all the
goodness.
with the phone. And
that phone, I tell you.
So we
One
got
of
to
these
draw
days they're
lines.
gonna be in there with me.
Individual said that we would be willing to help purchase materials and install it on the Friday.
Okay, yeah. So it sounds like we've got a resident push to explore speed bumps on these roads and some local expertise that would work with us and make sure. Okay, good. Well, I'm coming back to you on that because I agree.
Yeah.
I agree wholeheartedly. So let's slow that down. So we got kids that are playing on McBride and even Gladys. It
Oh,
scares
all
me.
have kids, even on Olive Street,
Yeah.
they drive down through there like crazy. And I put quite a bit of material on Olive Street because I have a new driver with a small car. I have a big truck, so
Yeah.
I can get down
You're
there,
good.
but
Yeah.
you fix it up a little bit and they drive faster.
Well, and with that being literally the next road that we work with on the county to improve, that road is going to be smooth. It's going to be just as smooth as Wallace coming up. So to your point, well, here's what I'll do. I'll map out where some speed bumps need to go. Maybe we'll look at that as, I'll come to you and kind of we'll space them out and figure out how many we need, what kind of material we're talking about. I'll take it to the council and you're not going to see.
The only thing you'd be worried about is signage to let people know that the speed bump's there. That way, that would get rid of your liability for it.
Okay.
You might invite suggestions from the viewers for where they might like.
Yep. If you want to throw in the chat some suggestions for speed bumps along Gladys and McBride, Main Street, Windsor, I'll take a look at it. I'll draw up a little map kind of similar to what we did here with this city map and just draw kind of maybe big red lines and we'll take a look at that because I agree. It's been one of my main concerns with
We
resurfacing.
also voiced a concern about a stoplight at.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going anywhere.
I did. When I met with DOT Friday, I reiterated our position that we need a light outside of camps. DOT regulation states that a certain amount of traffic has to be present, and unfortunately, that stretch in front of Kim's is 4 lanes. It's only 4 lanes for 75 or 100 feet, and I told the guys at DOT that. I said, listen, you guys, I'm hoping we can apply some common sense here, right? That's kind of my whole thing is let's apply a little common sense here.
They did their traffic study in July.
They did a traffic study in July. They also did a recent traffic study on the Monday before school started.
Right.
Before school started. So I let them know that. I said, let's work together on your next traffic measurement because I want to help you see reality versus, the last day of summer. Anyway.
We've had two pretty major accidents right on 513 and 69.
With a blinking light,
Within the last week.
Yeah.
One today, and then one a couple of days ago.
And so the DOT's position, whether we agree or don't, they're written in there, whatever you want to call them, bylaws, constitution, whatever, is a certain amount of traffic volume has to be present on a 4-lane highway. That definitely applies where 513 meets 69, unfortunately. And then
a lot of it is based on fatality accidents.
Well, and that has been brought up. We didn't talk about it Friday, but it's my understanding that it's been brought up to DOT before that says, is it going to take somebody losing their life for something to change? And, there was kind of a shrug because, again, they're kind of tied by procedure. So I'm working with DOT. I'm trying to figure out a way to apply some common sense and measure at the right times and maybe You know, because I agree, we need a light at Kim's, and more we need one probably at 513, right? And it's something better than a blinking yellow, right? Because phones, right? It's an issue.
They told us, you gotta figure this. They told us in the beginning when we were talking about Kim's, and part of the reason that Kim's is where it is because that's where TxDOT thought it would be a better place.
So TxDOT chose that spot theoretically.
TxDOT suggested heavily.
Suggested, got it.
That that'd be the place. We talked about doing a traffic light there. They suggested it might be the blinking light. TxDOT suggested it might be the blinking light, but they would wait for the traffic study to determine that. The project could have included reconstruction of the entire intersection had TxDOT deemed that necessary. TxDOT didn't deem it necessary. Traffic study didn't show, that was done in July, didn't show that they needed to have a blinking light there. The reason I mentioned the blinking light is because they told us that the city could then, EDC could then upgrade the blinking light to a traffic light.
Gotcha.
And they said the cost to do that was somewhere between $15,000 and $30,000 to update.
To them or to us?
To us.
So it's a cost that, well, cost doesn't matter if we're saving a life.
Right.
So
and the EDC was like, hey, sure, whatever. Now, since they said we don't need a blinking light, they told us that there is a grant program that the city and the school could work together on that would put a blinking light, put a light there, and we could put whatever light we want. So then
a grant through DOT or were they?
Grant through DOT to put the light there.
Okay, well.
Instead of them just doing it because we say we need it, they have a grant program that we can apply for. I don't know where that's going.
Okay, well, I will find out because I'm working with the school more and more and on deeper
I know
issues.
the school talked about it,
right?
But I don't know if you've noticed there's some stuff going on down there. They might be busy.
They got a few things going on, and understandably so. But I have a standing meeting with school officials to talk about, mutually important items, and I'm going to throw this on. If we can do this grant, then why not? Online question?
Well, the Pollard family on McBride, like you know, that if you put a speed bump in front of their house, they'll pay for it and paint it.
Outstanding. Love the Pollards. Love the Pollards. Angels of Lono. Yep. And that would probably be the first speed bump based on distance from the four-way stop that we would consider. So I'm glad they're on board because wherever we put speed bumps, it's going to impact, certain driveways or whatever. So that's great. I'm glad to hear that. We're good? Yes?
Football game.
Football game Friday night?
No, Monday night. Tonight.
Oh, nobody cares. It's the Eagles. Football game Friday night. Lone Oak is 3-0.
Are they really?
Yep, it's homecoming. Yep. Tioga's coming to town. Tioga's got a quarterback and a decent running back that runs routes out of the backfield. But we got a pretty good outside linebacker that covers routes pretty good. His last name's Forgy, and I'm pretty proud of him. So I think it's going to be a good game.
Pretty good coaches over there.
They got at least one good coach. Yeah, no, I'm kidding. They got a great. It is homecoming. Homecoming is this Friday. So excited. Yes, sir.
Would they like to see more for homecoming?
Oh, you know what? Great question for our online audience and for everybody here. Wes asked for me to ask, do we want to see more for homecoming from a city perspective?
City, school. Whatever.
City, school, community perspective, of course. I think the overwhelming answer is yes, especially after some of the stories that I've heard of things we used to do for homecoming. I want to get back to that. And I know I'm going to reach out again here with my opinion, but I've been told by a couple of people in this town that I should consider Lone Oak Mayberry. And I don't mean to offend anybody, but we're not Mayberry. We can look online and Facebook. We can look online or look around and see how we treat each other, see how we talk about each other. Now, I would love for us to be Mayberry. I want us to return to as close to Mayberry as we can. Mayberry's a fictional town now, and Mayberry's untouchable. Nobody broke the law in Mayberry.
Everybody was single in Mayberry.
Almost everybody was single in Mayberry. No, so I understand. I want us to be Mayberry. I want us to be as close to Mayberry as we can. In spite of today's society, I think we can. And a return to some of the community events like you just suggested, absolutely. Mina is here in person. She's heading up our special events, and I've been working with her directly, and she's doing a fantastic job beefing up the events that we are having. Next summer, 2025, is homecoming. We're reinstating homecoming. We missed one in 20 because of COVID. Homecoming's coming back next summer. Mary and I are kind of in charge of the financial piece of that, but there's a whole committee of Lone Oak residents and alumni that are working toward that. And the more of that we can do, the happier I'm going to be personally. So I get asked all the time, why are you out there with a shovel? Why are you dragging buckets around? And the answer is because I want to. I want us to be Mayberry. And I think we can, and I think we will. So that's my 2 cents. Yes, sir.
Online again, there's a reference to the homecoming. It said painted windows, parades, dinner on the square.
Painted windows, parades, and dinner opportunities on the square. Absolutely. Love it. We're gonna put that down as a goal for 2025 for homecoming. We got 12 months. Thank you. Yes. And the more volunteers we got, the better. Keep in mind, if y'all are watching at home and for anybody in here, in a couple of weekends, I'm going to send out a call for help. I've got a local house that needs some tree trimming and grass trimming and some lawn care. I think with the right amount of guys with me out there, we can probably knock it out in about 2 hours, if that. Probably even sooner, depending on who we got. So I'm going to send the call out via Facebook for anybody who wants to be an angel of Lone Oak and help this woman out. And it's going to be the first of a handful that I'm envisioning. We'll see. But, it's going to be that first step where, hey, man, she needs help, we're going to help her. Right?
Saturday?
It's going to be on a Saturday.
Okay.
Maybe it's not going to be this Saturday.
No.
It may be next Saturday or the one following. I don't know yet. But I'll put the call out.
Okay.
And I'm telling you, with enough hands, everybody in here knows, with enough hands, man, we can probably knock it out in half an hour. You never know. And then go have icy cold beverages and sandwiches. So pizza. Well, I can't cook pizza if I'm out there doing that, but it's a good idea. Yes, ma'am. Oak Tree Festival coming up in October. Mina's asking me to make sure everybody knows. If you haven't been on Facebook, and seen the advertisement, the little flyer there on Facebook, Oak Tree Festival, it's coming up. It's going to be good. Car show, chili cook-off, food. I mean, we're going to try it. We're going to do it up as best we can. And in 2025, we'll try to do it even bigger.
26, correct?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, yes, October 11th.
Just when you get free.